Alright, welcome back to Wmma Scene Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to episode number 73 of the Wmma Scene Report, our semi-regular show where we go over everything going on within the world of women's divisions of mixed martial arts. Tonight we're going to be talking about some of the upcoming generation of WMMA fighters. Some of them aren't even old enough to vote in their respective countries. But first, we have a lot of fights from last weekend and this weekend to go over, plus some news. So let's get down to it. We're going to go to the weekend review. First up, on Friday, we had UAE Warriors number 13. There were two ladies' fights on the card. First up, at 125 pounds, Manon Fiorot defeated Naomi Tataroglu via TKO ground and pound, 3 minutes of round 2. Fiorot climbed to 4-1. Tataroglu fell to 2-3. I haven't gotten to watch this fight yet, but Manon Fiorot seems to keep climbing up. And in this one I did get to watch, also at flyweight, Casey O'Neill defeated Christina Steliou via TKO due to ground and pound. 2 minutes, 12 seconds of the second round. O'Neill climbed to 5-0. Steliou climbed to 6-4. Casey O'Neill seems to keep getting better and better. I'm telling you, she is one to keep an eye on in the flyweight division. I hope Invicta tries to bring her over eventually. Also on Friday, Titan FC 64 had one ladies fight in the bantamweight division. Evelyn Martens defeated Serena de Jesus via unanimous decision. Martens climbed to 1-0. De Jesus fell to 1-2. Haven't seen this fight yet. From what I've heard, there was some absolutely horrific refereeing, like multiple eye pokes from Martens that the ref just either did not see or ignored. I also heard there was some like wonky judging too, like 2 of the judges gave all 3 rounds to Martens, and a lot of people I saw disagreed with it. So don't know what to make of it. I haven't seen the fight yet myself. Moving along to Saturday, Bellator Euro Series 8 had, I believe 2 ladies fights. First up at Strawweight, Danny Milan defeated Claire Lopez via submission due to rear naked choke. 3 minutes, 45 seconds of the second round. Milan climbed to 3-0. Lopez fell to 4-3. You know, I said last week that this looked kind of like a setup fight for Milan because Lopez's 2 previous losses were via submission, and it seems like it worked out that way this time because Nealon got that rear naked choke. Either way, Nealon is definitely a fighter to keep an eye on at strawweight, especially if she keeps improving and winning. Also at strawweight, Kiara Penko defeated Alexandra Tancheva-Plamanova via TKO due to ground and pound. 4 minutes, 27 seconds of the second round. Penko climbed to 5-2. Tancheva fell to 2-2. So Penko was able to stop a 2-fight skid in her homeland of Italy. I thought it was a questionable stoppage. I mean, Tancheva wasn't really in danger of being stopped. Like, obviously Penko, excuse me. Obviously Penko had her in a triangle, but wasn't able to choke her out, and all she was doing was punching her in the head. Not really in danger of knocking her out. I think Tancheva probably could have gone to the third, made it to the end of the round that way. Especially, there was only 30-some seconds left. I think she would have been okay. But at the same time, it's like she wasn't improving her position, and she wasn't able to defend herself really. So, I don't know. Anyway, moving on, also on Saturday was Octagon 16 in the Czech Republic. Had 2 ladies fights on the cards. First up, at strawweight, Magdalena Somoba defeated Mina Grusendor via decision. Somoba climbed to 10-2. Grusendor fell to 6-4. I knew going into this fight that it was going to be a tough one for Grusendor. It's her excuse me. It was her strawweight debut. Somoba is a very tough fighter. So no surprise, Somerville got the win there, but I haven't been able to watch this event. For some reason, I wasn't able to purchase the pay-per-view. It just wouldn't process my card. But also on that card at bantamweight, Teresa Bleda defeated Marie Loiseau via TKO at a minute and 49 seconds of round number 2. Bleda climbed to 1-0. Loiseau fell to 3-1 as a pro. I figured they were. I kind of figured they were setting Bleda up for a win there. I've seen one or two people talk about like she is legit. I haven't seen her fights yet, so can't say anything. But if she is a legit prospect, bantamweight could use her. Then also on Saturday, last event of Saturday was UFC 253 Adesanya versus Costa. One ladies fight in the bantamweight division. Ketlin Vieira defeated Sijara Eubanks via unanimous decision. Vieira climbed to 11-1. Eubanks fell to 6-5. Look, Vieira came in. I thought she had ring rust in the first half of the first round. Then she started coming on stronger as the fight went. Eubanks, I thought she gave a very good effort. She acquitted herself well, I should say, in a losing effort. She gave a good account of herself, was what I was originally trying to say. No shame in that loss for Eubanks because she was just coming off of a fight 2 weeks ago where she had lost. No, she had won. Actually, she had beaten Julia Avila. So, just coming off a fight 2 weeks previous, went up against, a top 10 contender and did very well against her. And it was nice to see Vieira back in form after her knockout loss to Aldana earlier this year. I think that was earlier this year. And then finally, for this weekend, Ryzen 24 in Saitama, Japan had one ladies fight in the strawweight division. Reina Kubota defeated Emi Tomomatsu via unanimous decision. Kubota climbed to 11-3. Tomomatsu fell to 15-17. I thought it was a good fight. It started off slow. I was disappointed in the first round. Both fighters were very hesitant. Tomomatsu came in very strong in the second round. Had a chance at a rear naked choke on Reina. And Reina, all three of her losses, or no, 2 of her 3 losses were by submission. Is it all 3? No, I gotta look that up. Anyway, Kubota was able to get past that adversity and came away with a win. So nice improvement there for Reina. And Emi Tomomatsu, she's 38 years old. She's on the decline. I thought she gave a good account of herself too in a losing effort. So nice performance all around for those 2 ladies. So that was it for this weekend's fight, or this past weekend's fights. I did multiple fight reviews for some of these fights, so please go check them out if you get the chance. Anyway, let's get down into the news. First up, Bellator 248 is going down October 10th in Paris, France. They've added a flyweight bout between, I think you pronounce this, Maggie Burchell, coming in at 10-4-1. She's taking on Lucy Berthaud, coming in at 2-2. A couple of French women facing off in their home country's capital. First, I believe this is the first major MMA event to go down in France, which just earlier this year or late last year legalized the sport in the country. So big news for MMA and the ladies particularly. Also in Bellator news, Bellator 247 goes down October 1st in Milan, Italy. That's tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about these fights. Atomweight fight between Jade Durand and Monica Chochlakova. A flyweight bout between Mandy Baum, 6-0, and Greet Ekout, 5-3-1. And then a flyweight bout between Denise Kielholtz, 5-2, and Kate Jackson. I don't have her record written down. We'll be going over those fights momentarily. A couple of USADA suspensions in the UFC. First up, Lara Procopio was tested positive in out-of-competition test for Osterine. It was tested and it was determined that it was due to a tainted supplement. She is out for 6 months. Big one though. Duda Santana tested positive for the SARM LGD 4033. Now, she claimed that it was due to a tainted supplement, but was unable to prove it as she had thrown the supplements out. She is suspended for 2 years and has been released from the UFC. Tough luck. Fighters, if you're a fighter and you're watching this and you're going to go under testing, hold on to those supplements. Unfortunately, she was not able to really fight it as either because she didn't have, poor fighter from Brazil lacked the resources to really get a lawyer or go into arbitration. So just tough luck for Duda Santana if it was indeed due to a tainted supplement. Back over to the Bellator news. They have a ladies bout for October 3rd this Saturday at Bellator Euro Series 9. It is between Sinead Kavanagh and Katarina Leonard. Kavanagh coming in 6-4. Leonard coming in at 7-2. That's at featherweight, if I did not mention that previously. And then some Invicta news. Invicta FC bantamweight/featherweight. Chelsea Chandler announced via Instagram that she has signed on with Invicta for an additional 4 fights. Now, I'm not sure if that's a contract extension or a whole new contract. Didn't go into detail that deeply, but Chandler moved up to featherweight for her last fight and came away with a first-round finish. Very impressive win there. Going over to Japan, Pancrase 319 goes down October 25th in Tokyo and is going to have a strawweight bout between Karen Date coming in 1-0. She is taking on Fumina Aoki, who will be making her debut. Actually going to be talking about Karen Date later during the feature discussion. And then finally, 17-year-old Bellamir, daughter of UFC and Bellator veteran Frank Mir, will make her pro debut October 22nd in Mexico for Icon Fight Federation. Opponent to be announced. Now, Icon just had their first event ever last week, and it was on UFC Fight Pass, so I expect this one will be as well. From what I can see of training footage, Bella looks like the real deal, and Frank has had her corner his last couple of fights, I believe. I don't know how good she is as a corner, but she looks to be legit, and she's one I'll be talking about later as well. So that's it for the news. Honestly, it's been a slow couple of weeks for news for the women's divisions. That's actually 2 weeks worth of news. So slow news week. Normally, this is where we'd go into the rankings update, but I checked UFC.com, and there were no updates to the women's rankings this week. So let's get down into this weekend's events. Only a few events featuring ladies bouts this weekend that I wanted to talk about. There might be a couple more events, but they were so small. They didn't really click on the radar or interest me that much. Anyway, first up, Bellator. What am I looking at? Excuse me, I have the wrong link up. Bellator 247, I believe. Yes, Bellator 247 is going to have 3 ladies fights. One of them just got moved up to the main event today. First up, an atomweight bout between 2 debutantes that, honestly, I'm surprised Bellator isn't having them in their kickboxing events. Jade Durand coming in, making her pro debut out of France, and Monica, I've seen it Koklukova and I've seen it Toklukova. So either way, both are making their pro debut. Like I said, Durand out of France, Koklukova out of the Slovak Republic. Koklukova is the elder fighter by 5 years, 24-19 for Durand. Don't have a height available for Durand. Here's what's interesting about Koklukova. She measures in at 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters. Now, as far as I know, this makes her the tallest fighter to ever make the atomweight limit at 5 feet 7. The only other fighters that come close is Yuri Shim of South Korea, who measures in at 5 feet 6 inches, and then Laura Sanko, who only had one pro fight, but she measured in at 5 feet 5 inches. So Koklukova has both of them beat. As far as I know, she is the tallest atomweight ever to weigh in and make the limit. She made 106 pounds today. Other than that, I don't have any stats on these two. They are both primarily stand-up fighters, so I don't look for this fight to go to the ground. Hopefully it doesn't. Usually when two stand-up fighters go to the ground, it looks terrible. I'm not going to be making a pick on this one either because I haven't watched any footage on these two. But still, it's an atomweight bout, which I'm always happy to see. And Koklikova coming in at 5'7" just makes it that much more interesting. Moving up to, still on the prelims, at flyweight. Manti Bohm coming in 6-0, taking on Greek Painapple Ekout coming in 5-3-1. Bohm coming in undefeated. Ekout coming in on a 2-fight run over Melanie Gugis and then Nicole Stahl, all within a little over a year ago. Before that, she was on a 3-fight losing streak. Bohm is the taller fighter, 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters, to Ekout's 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters. Don't have a reach available for Ekout. Bohm is listed at 70 inches, 178 centimeters. Now, I have not seen Ekout fight. Haven't seen any footage on her. I have seen one fight of Bohm. She looks like a promising prospect to me. So I'm going to go with her to win this bout. And then finally, in the main event, also in the flyweight division, Denise Kielholtz coming in 5-2, taking on Kate Jackson coming in 11-4-1. Kielholtz coming in on a 3-fight winning streak over Brioni Terrell, Sabria Sengel, and then most recently Christina Williams via submission 7 months ago. Kate Jackson coming in off of a loss in a title bid to Evelyn McFarland. Before that, she was on a 2-fight run over Anastasia Yankova and Lena Ovchennikova. Man, it's been a while since those fights. Let's see, Jackson is the elder fighter, 34 years, to Kielholtz is 31. Kate Jackson coming in the taller fighter, 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters, to Kielholtz is 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters. The reach is more narrowed though, 67 inches, 170 centimeters for Jackson to 66 inches, 168 centimeters for Kielholtz. So Kielholtz comes in with more MMA experience and I would say higher caliber of opponents, or roughly this, mostly because of her fights against Valerie Letourneau and then Evelyn McFarland, both of which were losing efforts. Kielholtz comes in with that kickboxing pedigree and I believe a judo pedigree as well. Plus she's fighting, well, they're both European, so. Well, Jackson's British. Let's see. Looking at the Tapology predictions, 383 predictors, 51% favor Jackson to Kielholtz. Yeah, I can agree with it being that close. Personally, though, I'm going with Kielholtz. If it stays on the feet, she's definitely going to have a big advantage. If Jackson gets her down, that could be the advantage for Jackson. However, Kielholtz, if she gets the takedowns, she could easily submit Kate Jackson. Because Kielholtz's submission skills are not to be messed with. So I'm going to go with Kielholtz to win this one. Sticking with Bellator, but moving to Saturday, Bellator Euro Series 9, Gallagher versus Eleanor. There is one ladies bout in the featherweight division. Sinead Kavanagh coming in 6-4, taking on Katarina Lenner coming in at 7-2. KO Kavanagh coming in off of a win over Olga Rubin 10 months ago. Before that, she was on a 2-fight skid, losing to Janae Harding and then Leslie Smith. Now, Lenner is coming in off of a 3-fight skid. First up to Sarah Kaufman, a little over 2 years ago. Then to Pani Kianzad, a little over 2 years ago in Ultimate Fighter. That might have actually been an exhibition bout. Yeah, technically that was an exhibition bout. Most recently, though, she lost to Lisa Berzosa via unanimous decision. That was a year and 3 months ago. Don't have an age available for Kavanaugh on Tapology. Leonard is 30 years old. They both stand the same height, 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters. However, Leonard has the reach advantage, 67 inches, 170 centimeters to Kavanaugh, 65 inches, 165 inches. I got to go with Kavanaugh on this one. Granted, I have never been particularly impressed with any of her wins. Well, the Rubin win was actually kind of nice, getting that KO over Rubin. But like when she beat that Maria Casanova, that was very impressive. And however, I will say she did go to split decision in a loss against Arlene Blenko. That was like 3 years ago. That's probably pretty impressive by itself. Leonard coming in off that 3-fight win streak. Man, it's hard to have confidence in her winning this one. I'm going to go with Kavanaugh. I do want to mention though, let's be honest here. Both of these ladies should really be fighting at bantamweight. This just shows to me how weak the featherweight division is overall, that you have bloated bantamweights fighting at featherweight. And this is what Bellator can come up with. And then finally, for a UFC fight night, Holm versus Aldana, Saturday night, coming in from Abu Dhabi, UAE. 3 ladies fights. First off, we're starting in the prelims in the strawweight division. Jinyu Fry taking on Aloma Lukbunmi. Fry coming in 9-5. Lukbunmi coming in at 4-2. Fry coming off a loss in her UFC and strawweight debut to Kay Hansen via triangle armbar submission. Before that, she had a win down at atomweight over Ashley Cummins 7 months ago at Invicta. Lukbunmi coming in off a loss to Angela Hill via unanimous decision 7 months ago. Before that, she was coming in off of 2 straight wins. First over Monique Adriani in Invicta at atomweight, and then over Alexandra Albu via split decision in her UFC debut 11 months ago. Fry is the elder fighter, 35 years, to Lukbunmi's 24. Fry is going to be the taller fighter, 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters, to Lukbunmi's 5 feet 1 inch, 155 centimeters. And Fry is going to have a reach advantage as well, 65 inches, 165 centimeters, to Lukbunmi's 62 inches, 157 centimeters. So here you have a couple of atomweights fighting at strawweight in the UFC. Just a good reminder that the UFC really should add the atomweight division. This is an interesting one. Fry packs a lot of power. Well, I won't say a lot of power. She definitely packs more power in her punches than I would say Lukbunmi does in really any of her strikes. She definitely comes in with the more experience in MMA. If you had the Muay Thai, then it would be no contest for Lukbunmi. But MMA, it's definitely in Fry's favor. Lukbunmi, I would say, is the more dynamic striker. Muay Thai background. She throws a lot of low kicks. Likes to clinch. She throws a lot of knees and elbows and punches in the clinch. She's a clinch monster. Supposedly, she's been working on her wrestling and submissions and takedown defense and everything. I'm not sure, but I don't know. That's what I get from her coaches. So, I've seen a lot of people picking Lukbunmi, but I gotta go with Jinyu Fry. I think I picked her to beat Kay Hansen last time and I got it wrong. Can't remember. I think I picked her to beat Hansen. Can't remember. Anyway, I'm picking her to beat Lukbunmi. Like I said, she has more power. She has the height. She has the reach. She has the MMA experience against a much higher caliber of opposition than Lukbunmi has fought aside from Angela Hill. If Lukbunmi gets her into the clinch, I think she definitely has the advantage. I think at range, Fry should have the advantage. But if Fry can start landing some nice uppercuts in the clinch, she could do it very well there. I also think Fry would have the advantage on the ground. One thing that sours me on Lukbunmi it's only like a year, 10 months ago since she lost to Suwon Boonsorn, Amp the Rocket, by armbar in the first round. That was like a very quick loss there for her. So if I were Fry, personally, I'd try to come in and look to go for a takedown to a quick submission. That's really not Fry's style, but I'm going to go with Jin Yu Fry on this one. Then next up, on the main card in the bantamweight division, Jermaine Derandamie taking on Juliana Pena, the Iron Lady, coming in 9-4. The Venezuelan Vixen coming in 9-3. Now Derandamie is coming off the loss to Amanda Nunes 9 months ago. Before that, she was on a nice win streak, picking up wins over Aspen Ladd, Raquel Pennington, Holly Holm, and just to name a few, not necessarily in that order. Pena coming in off the win over Nico Montano in a year and 2 months ago. That was her first fight in like 2 years because she had a kid. Before that, she was coming in off of a loss to Valentina Shevchenko. So neither of the most active of fighters. Let's see, Derandamie is the elder fighter, 36 years to Pena's 31. Derandamie is going to have a nice height advantage, 5 feet 9 inches, 175 centimeters to Pena's 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters. She's also going to have the reach advantage, 72.5 inches, 184 centimeters. That's a long reach for a lady. To Pena's 69 inches, 175 centimeters. So this fight could largely depend on who is able to impose their game and keep it in their arena. On the feet, you got to give it to Derandamie. On the ground, if Pena can get Derandamie down, you got to give it to Pena. Big question is, can Derandamie stop Pena's takedowns? Can Pena get the takedowns against Derandamie? My bet is going to be on Derandamie's, piecing Pena up on the feet, keeping her on the outside, and stuffing the takedowns before Pena can really get in close to land them. So I'm going with Jermaine Derandamie to win this one. And then finally for this weekend, the main event in the bantamweight division, Holly, the Preacher's Daughter Holm, taking on Irene Aldana. Holm coming in 13-5. Aldana coming in at 12-5. Holm coming in off a win over Raquel Pennington via decision. Before that, had the knockout loss to Amanda Nunes a year and 2 months ago. Aldana coming in on a 2-fight run over Vanessa Mello a year ago, and then Ketlin Vieira via knockout and a bit of an upset 9 months ago. Before that, she had that loss via split decision to Raquel Pennington. Holm is the elder fighter, 38 years to Aldana's 32 years. She also has, Aldana is going to have 1 inch of height on Holm, 5 feet 9 inches, 175 centimeters, to 5 feet 8 inches, 173 centimeters for Holm. However, the reach is slightly reversed, 69 inches, 175 centimeters for Holm, 68.5 inches, 174 centimeters for Aldana. So I did a full breakdown on this fight. You can go watch it. It's in a separate video. Please go watch it. But I went with Holm to win this one. I just think that she, in a 5-round fight, I just see her drawing it out and finding more chances to play her style of fighting over Aldana. So we're going to go with Holly Holm to win this one. All right, so that's it for the upcoming fights for this weekend. So tonight I want to talk a little bit about the next generation of women's mixed martial arts fighters that are coming up. A lot of them aren't even old enough to vote in their respective home countries, but they're already turning pro if they haven't already. So I picked out 5 of them I want to talk just a little bit about. I'm not going to go in depth on this, but I think that they're worth talking about. So first up, I want to talk about someone that should be familiar to followers of this channel. I've reviewed multiple fights of hers before, and that's Ji-yeon Seo of South Korea. She's either 18 or 19 years old now. She is 9-4 as a pro. She has most recently been fighting for One Warrior Series and picking up a couple fights at home in Korea as well. Now she is currently on hiatus. She hasn't fought at all this year, and I recently saw on her Instagram stories that unfortunately she's like very nervous about coming back. She's worried she might not be as good as she was before. It's like, you haven't taken that long of a break. But hopefully she comes back. I see some good promise in her, so hopefully she comes back and is ready to go. Next up is an American, Bellamir. She is 17 years old. Just mentioned earlier, she has not made her pro debut. She has a BJJ, wrestling, MMA background. She is the daughter of UFC and Bellator veteran Frank Mir, former heavyweight champion in UFC Frank Mir. Now, Bella is set to make her debut as a pro on October 22nd for Icon Fight Federation, and that's going to be should be on UFC Fight Pass, I should say, against a as yet to be named opponent. So, from what I've seen of her training on social media, she looks very promising, and from what I understand, like Frank Mir has 3 kids, 2 sons, and her, and she, I think, has often been called the toughest of the 3. Next up, Victoria Lee. She is 16 years old. Now, she has not made her pro debut yet, but she's got some nice credentials coming in to her pro debut. A Hawaii State Wrestling champ, IMMAF Junior champion. That's the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, all amateur MMA. And she is a 2-time Pancration Junior World Champ. She has signed with One Championship, where she will be joining her older brother and sister, Christian Lee and Angela Lee. Not going to lie, she looks very promising. A lot of good credentials there. She comes from a good family of fighters, comes from a good gym that's producing some good fighters. So very much looking forward to seeing what Victoria Lee has to offer. Next up, we're going back to South Korea. Eugene Shin. Now, Eugene is 16 years old, but she is already 2-0 as a professional. She is signed with Korea's Road FC promotion. She made her pro debut last December for Road FC, where she picked up a decision win. And then earlier this year for Road's kiddie promotion, ARC, she picked up a TKO win in, I believe, the first round. Let me see. I believe it's the first round. Let me check on that real quick. Yeah, 2 minutes, 21 seconds of the first round. So, already showing a lot of promise, and she's only 16 years old and looks like a kid as well. But still showing some nice promise. And she comes from a gym that's mostly known for grappling and picked up a win via TKO from punches, standing. So, obviously a well-rounded fighter there. And then finally, we have Karen Date, member of the infamous Team Date. Now, she is 17 years old. She is currently 1-0. She is currently signed to Pancrase. She made her debut back in December, beating a fighter with only goes by one name, Diana. But her next fight is scheduled for October 25th at Pancrase 319. You know, Team Date, they're very interesting. I like to make fun of them because they're kind of weird and goofy. They always come out in weird outfits. They talk about their Indian martial art. Was it Maharaja Kalariku? But Karen Date looks to be like the real deal. She looks to be the most well-rounded of the bunch, even though she's the youngest and least experienced in MMA. But I think she shows a lot of promise, particularly considering she's fighting out of Team Date. So keep an eye out on her. Hopefully Pancrase will have an international broadcasting deal in place for Pancrase number 319. So that's just, a quick 5 fighters that I could think of that aren't even 20 years old yet, but are either already pros or ready to make their pro debut. Really excited for this next generation of women mixed martial artists. And there are a lot of women, particularly, I only mentioned, well, I guess Victoria Lee's American, but so 1 or 2 Americans. But there's a whole generation of young ladies getting into women's wrestling within the U.S. And a lot of them are probably going to be looking to move into MMA as well if they want to continue with wrestling past college. You know, I think a lot of times MMA has looked to the Olympians to, you know, look for the next big thing or the next fighter to be a hot prospect. But honestly, for the ladies, I think you want to start looking at high school sports, college sports, get them while they're in high school and college, start training them for MMA. I think that is where the future is going to be, particularly in the U.S. now that a lot more high schools are adding women's girls wrestling programs. So that's just 5 fighters I want to talk about. I think we definitely have a bright future ahead for the women's divisions, and these 5 are very good examples of that. Anyway, that's really all I have on that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and that it goes for the whole show. Ran a little bit long tonight, mostly because of just how many fights there were to go over. But let me know your thoughts on really anything we discussed in the comments down below. Of course, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it as well. That's how word about the channel gets spread. And while you're at it, subscribe to Wmma Scene Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.